Hello, hello, hello. That's about what happened in the last episode, right? Anyway, so Alien Earth episode 5 has dropped. And what an episode. This is the episode I have been waiting for. It is the flashback episode. So I predicted that in the first episode, because we kept seeing elements of what happened to cause the crash, we were going to get an episode where we saw the entirety. And this is that episode. So we don't focus on the cast that we've had for the whole show. This is going to the cast of the first episode where the ship crashed. And what an episode. So, first thing I'm going to say is the people on this ship should all have been fired if they hadn't died, because they were all pretty much useless. So let's just go through bits of the plot. We're going to sort of jump around a little bit here, but we're going to have a go. Mero wakes up. The guy that we think's the villain through the whole thing, the guy that we think must have unleashed this hell on this ship, turns out he did not. Turns out he might accidentally become the hero of this whole series by the looks of it. So Mero is the cyborg guy we've been following in the rest of the season. He's the one with the Swiss Army knife hand, like cyborg. He gets woken up to be told that 2 of his crew have been injured, and that there's been a fire and a containment breach from one of the aliens. So he goes running down to see what's going on, goes to the medical bay, and there are literally 2 of his crew members with face huggers on, 1 deceased. So it turns out it's the captain and the science officer. And as we find out later through CCTV, someone went in there, a stowaway, but would possibly stowaways, and sabotaged the room. So they went in there, they opened up the xenomorph egg door, and they set a little fire on the wall, so that then they do a runner. Then they come back. So then you've basically got the captain and the science officer run in because there's a fire. They put the fire out, and of course that's when the face huggers from the alien eggs they've got on their faces. Sadly, the captain has died because they tried to remove the xenomorph by cutting it off, and of course acid for blood. Acid got on the captain and killed him. But the science officer is still alive, but with the xenomorph on his face. So the doctors decide what we're going to do is we're going to put him into stasis, cryostasis, till we can get back home to Earth. So they do that. Meanwhile, Mero finds out that the engineers have discovered there's been a few more things going on, and the ship's now on a collision course to Earth. And so the engineers have been told to work on that and try and fix it. The person who now takes over as captain is the second in charge. I think she was like the lieutenant or something. She is now in charge, but she's kind of conflicted by things because the science officer, who's got the facehugger on him, is kind of her boyfriend, I suppose. They've become a couple since being on the ship. Mero knows about this because he's the security officer, and he clocked it a while ago. He says, I know what's going on with you and him. Are you questioning sort of a leadership now? Because she's obviously compromised by the fact that her other half has got a face hugger on. So she's just like, no, I'm fine, I had to go on. Because obviously he then, if she can't do it, he takes over. Mero takes over. To be honest with you, it would have been a lot safer if he had taken over in the first place. So he's now trying to work out who the saboteur is, because when he looked at the security camera footage, he saw the person cause the fire and open the thing. So we've got that going on. Also, what's going on is in the biology bay, where you've got the sort of Flight of the Navigator space zoo, we've got the most incompetent biologist I've ever seen in my life. She's feeding the dangerous blood-sucking tick-like things we saw in episode 1 and 2 that drain the blood out of people. She's feeding those a big live dead rat, and she leaves it slightly open, and I'm like, that's not a very good thing. So she leaves it slightly open, and she's got a water flask next to her. The creature climbs out the jar, climbs down, climbs up the water draft, and releases its spawn into the water jug, the water flask. And they're like little tadpoles swimming around it. There's loads of them as well swimming around this thing. So you're like, straight away, someone is going to drink that at some point, right? So you're kind of waiting for her to drink it, to be honest with you. Then she does something else stupid. She goes to put away Octopus eyeball. Now we've been seeing that throughout the series as well. That's now in a sheep, which caused my stress. And because that episode has stayed with me so much, this is why. Do any of you have a weird octopus eyeball creature inside your head? Are all your eyes real? I just need to know before I go running past you. Okay. So yeah, that episode has stayed with me, that now I can't run past shit without thinking there's an alien eyeball in it. So the alien eyeball is in a containment glass. She goes to put it away in some like lock-up thing of it, but forgets to lock it. This woman, oh my God, she's the reason people are just dying, right? So she's then done that. She's stupidly done that. She then gets distracted and legs out of the room. The alien eyeball then kind of catapults itself against the glass to make the glass fall and smash. So now he's loose. Then we get the xenomorph that's in the cryostasis thing, because they've this is again biologist that doesn't know anything, and she shouldn't be working now. Everyone should be fired. So they put the body in the man in cryostasis because he's got the face hugger on him, which obviously freezes him. Because the alien's got a different physiology and can survive in deep space at 0 temperatures, it doesn't freeze the alien that's growing in his chest or the face hugger. So of course, while no one's there, why the doctor goes to the toilet. So the doctor's like, I left for 5 minutes to go to the toilet, because he's basically supposed to be watching this. The alien bursts out, gets out, and is now running around the ship. So they've got a xenomorph running around the ship, eyeball thing running around the ship, and the little creatures that the little tick-like creatures, they're in a water flask, right? So you're like, for God's sake, what is wrong with these people? So then you got all this going on. Then we get, obviously now, so now the person who's become captain because the other captain died, she's now got her partner, boyfriend, whatever, is dead because the aliens burst out. So she's now not in the right state of mind to run things and all that. So anyway, they then sit down and have a meeting to discuss what's going on. So Mara lets her know that there is someone on this ship. It could be one of you that's sabotaging stuff. We don't know. You're using the air decks to get in and out. I want to know who it is, sort of thing. No one says anything. So a biologist woman brings her flask of water in the room, puts it on the table, and a couple of times she goes to drink it and something stops her. And one of the engineers, who, again, why he got that job I don't know. He's the apprentice engineer, but he doesn't seem to know anything. I mean, he's the slowest man on the planet pretty much when it comes to knowing anything. He doesn't know what anything means, what anything is, doesn't even know what apprentice is at one point. And he is an apprentice, you know what I mean? And he's an engineering apprentice. And engineering is a hard job. You have to have some smarts to be an engineer. And somehow he's become this apprentice. He's eating food, it's spicy food, it gets hot, and he drinks the water, which we know is going to happen. Of course, the bugs have then gone into him. We then go to Morrow saying, this is what we're going to do. Someone's going to go looking for the alien wandering around. You guys are going to try and fix the problem in the ship, and I'm going to sort of try and get to the bottom of who this saboteur is, and everyone's going to sort of do their own little jobs and keep going. So they're going to keep going. The engineers are trying to work on the things. So the engineers go down to work on the ship to try and fix whatever this saboteur has bodged up. Suddenly the one that drank the water starts getting sick, throws up a load of blood and passes out. They then take him to the infirmary, the doctor's medical bay. Then we get our stupid one who's in charge now, who's not really thinking properly anyway. She goes down to the infirmary, and they're looking through glass. They've got the guy who's very ill. They've been scanning. They see the parasites are in him, and they're like, look, we've got to cut him open to save him. That's the only way. And she agrees to this. Morrow comes down. He's like, no. We just quarantine it, put him in stasis, and that's it. We can't do anything because these things could get out. She then overrules Morrow and says, no, we're going to cut the guy open. They cut the bloody guy open. And of course, you see all the little parasites on him, these little creatures all running around all over his stomach and stuff. And the doctor's like, I'm going to take them off. So he just gets a pair of tweezer things, these little claw things. Reminds me of the Total Recall. I don't think he pulls out his nose in Total Recall. The claw that goes up. Reminds me of that. Clips onto the parasite, pulls it, and does that. When it does that, this gas thing releases and kills both doctors that are in the room, which is the woman that should die, to be honest, which is annoying, is the biologist woman, and the doctor both die in the room. So obviously Murray then does a button, quarantines the room, everyone in there is dead. So that's for Christ's sake, so that's all kicking off. So Morrow then goes running off. Now earlier on, we had our lieutenant go to Mother, which is the voice of the computer of the ship, and puts out a message to Weyland-Yutani and says, look, we've got this break on the ship. There's a xenomorph running around. Should we kill it? And then that's it. And they basically come back and say, no, that has priority. Our cargo has priority. Do not kill anything. That's more important than you, basically. And she has to acknowledge that, and she does. So she's then standing, realising she's made an epic mistake now, looking at the ship, looking through this window at these dead bodies in this room. And the xenomorph comes down. This is the best look we've had of the xenomorph in this show so far. And I'll tell you, it doesn't look right. It looks like a xenomorph, but it looks kind of weirdly too chunky and too bulky in the head. Like the head looks too big for the body to me. I know the xenomorph has a big head, but it doesn't look right in comparison to the body as we've normally seen it. And the little tubes that sort of come out the back, they're like short. They're usually quite long and stick out the back quite far, but these are like short ones, and it kind of like threw me off looking, thinking that doesn't look right. And also, it's not as aggressive as xenomorphs generally are. And this is something people have noticed about the show as well, and I noticed as well, that it doesn't go on the attack. It goes on attack on certain people, but obviously it tends to like toy or play with. And it does it with her. So it comes down behind this lieutenant. She's on her own in the hallway, and it comes right down behind her, turns around, and it sort of stands in front of her, almost going like, yeah, what are you going to do? Sort of thing. And that xenomorph usually just attack straight away or come after you, but it sort of stands there for a bit. Then she's like, oh, goes to run. He sort of trips with its tail. Almost like it's playing. It sort of sweeps a leg like Cobra Kai. You know? It sweeps a leg. She goes down and it chases her. But it doesn't seem, because xenomorphs is lightning fast, right? Yet she's outrunning this thing. And she managed to outrun the xenomorph and hide. So then Marrow's basically saying, right, we need to, at this point, then we go back to Morrow, and he's basically like, we need to find this thing. He's giving everyone like electric guns and stuff, and everyone goes off looking. And him and these other security officers walk around trying to find it. So then we go back to her again, and she runs into this room, and she sees the older sort of engineer just standing in the room, sort of facing like away from her, just standing there. And she shuts the door, because the xenomorph's behind the door, and you can see the xenomorph just behind the door. She shuts the door, and she's like, says to him like, come on, we've got to run, we've got to run. He then turns around, and he's got octopus eye in his face, and he's standing like, oh, and he's got the eye, the big eye from the octopus eye in his face. And he looks at her, and he runs at her to kill her, right? And obviously, you see her sort of go down, and the xenomorph's got looking through, he's like, oh, sod this. The xenomorph's like, I'm leaving. So the xenomorph walks off. Suddenly, then you go back to Morrow again, who's with his security officer, and they're sort of walking around, and next thing you know, oh no, sorry, I've missed an amazing part. When Morrow works out who the thing is, I totally forgot that bit. God, that's important, right? So, Morrow goes back through the footage and he's trying to work out who has done this thing. So he's interviewing people in the crew. One of them is the Chinese guy. It's really weird. He kind of stares at the girl a lot and stuff like that. Just stands there staring at her in the first episode. We see him doing this again earlier on in the episode when she's in stasis. So he stares at that young girl a lot. He's really creepy, this like Chinese guy. And Morrow's interviewing him. And he says to him, like, is it you? Are you the one sabotaging? And he's like, no, it's not me. And he says to him, you need to look, you're not seeing what's in front of your face. And Morrow's like, what do you mean? Like, tell me what you think. And he's like, the stasis pods say they're full, but they might not all be full. So with that, Morrow's like, you're saying someone's not in the pod that's supposed to be in the pod. So someone's actually, that should have been asleep. There's a lot of the crew are still asleep the whole way through this. Half the crew tend to be awake and the other half are asleep, so they can sort of work shift work, I suppose. So Morrow's like, oh, so he runs to the thing, finds out who's missing, and it's a chief engineer. He then goes to the security cameras and looks at everyone's like phone call conversations they've been having. And this is where we find out the whole thing has been set up by Boy Cavalier, the boy genius. He set the whole thing up from the start. He knew the ship was going to crash in Prodigy. He'd set the whole thing up. So he had been paying, I suppose, the engineer to break out, rig the ship to crash at Prodigy and get the xenomorphs where he can get them. That's the whole thing. He has set this thing up from the start. He's the true villain of the piece. So we know he's a bit of an arse. We know he's wrong about what he's trying to do, but now we know he's the villain of the show. He has done all of this himself. So Morrow's like, crap. He goes, so back to where we were. They walk around the ship and suddenly Morrow and his security officer come face to face with this engineer that's kind of like the traitor engineer. And this is actually, my son was watching it with me and he went, this show's like Among Us. You've got like crewmates and one of them's a traitor, but you don't know which one. He went, it's just like the computer game Among Us, which I've never played, but I'm aware of it. And I was like, maybe that's where they got the idea from. I don't know, but it's very much like that. So they see the traitor guy, and he starts firing. He sadly kills the young security officer. He gets killed. He's quite a funny guy. Sadly, he's quite a nice guy. So he gets killed, and then Morrow manages to like kill the other guy by stabbing him with his like Swiss Army knife. Stabs him in the chest, like up in the air. Kills him. So you're like, wow, that's great. Morrow sort of like killed that guy now. So fast forward back to her. She's been attacked by bug-eyed engineer now, Octopus Eye engineer, and she's been killed by, or you think she's been killed by him because she's down on the floor. So then the Xenomorph looks through the window at her. It's like, oh well, she's gone, and bugs off. Just like doesn't care, and leaves from the ceiling, like crawls up the ceiling, and legs it. So a little bit of time goes past, and you're looking at the door, and Morrow comes out from a vent, and then opens or goes in, sees the girl on the floor, then looks at engineer guy who's got the big bulky octopus eye in him, and he goes running at Morrow. As this happened, the Xenomorph comes from behind Morrow, and Morrow's literally just like, well, I'm just going to move out of the way and let you two go. And he does. He legs it out of the way. The Xenomorph and octopus eyeball thing fight. And it's a good fight. They have a little, because like, I thought Octopus Eye will get slaughtered straight away. Like the body of it will get slaughtered straight away by the Xenomorph. This one, the Xenomorph isn't as impressive as a killer in this series. I don't know why. I don't know if we're going to find out why, but it's not the Xenomorphs we see later, because they're a lot more aggressive and hunting and killing. So this is why I'm a bit confused by this Xenomorph in particular. So yeah, the Xenomorph and the Octopus Eye engineer now guy have a fight, and the engineer sort of gets on top of the Xenomorph, starts biting it. They have a fight. The Xenomorph using its tail like a scorpion stinger, stabbing the crap out of the guy. Eventually the eyeball thing jumps out and then attacks the Xenomorph. He's trying to get the Xenomorph. The Xenomorph's like fighting it off, like trying to get this thing off of it, and it's incapacitated. This gives Morrow the chance to run into the mother computer room, shut the door, and type to mother. This is what we saw in the first episode, just before the ship crashed. Morrow's doing that. With that, the girl that was outside isn't dead. She wakes up. She must have been knocked out by the eyeball thing. She wakes up, runs to the door, as we saw in the first episode, and banging on the door, Morrow, let me in, let me in, let me in. And he's like, no, everyone's deceased. And he just welds the door shut, and then puts himself in that thing underground, shuts it, which basically is where the end is. And then we see, like, fast forward to the future. So we get the ship then crashes into what's it, blah, blah, blah. And then we see fast forward into the future, and Morrow has gone to Weyland-Yutani. And he basically says to her, look, me and your mum, we had a good connection. She like, it seems like your gran, who used to control Weyland-Yutani, the woman, old woman used to create it, she had a connection with Morrow says like, look, she raised me, she sorted out my gimpy arm, gave him the cyborg arm, and she's like done well for me. I want to do this for you. Like, he wants to get this thing. He says, now, I want to do it my way. He said, unless you've got a team of soldiers to go into Prodigy and get this stuff back, that's the only way I'm going to do it. So I would rather you do it my way, and I will kill Boy Cavalier, Boy Genius, because he's blaming him for the crew getting killed, because it is the guy's fault. It's Boy Cavalier's fault. He's blaming him for the deaths, and he's going to, so Morrow is going to say, I'm going to go get your stuff back, and I'm going to kill that Boy Genius. So Morrow's obviously heading to the island to work for Yutani to kill, because he's got a personal vendetta now. It's like he's wiped out his whole crew because of what Boy Cavalier has done. So now he wants to wipe out Boy Cavalier. So we're going to get Morrow going down to the island, I'm guessing, and we're going to see him trying to get back not only the Xenomorphs, but try and kill Boy. He's going to go and assassinate Boy Cavalier, which is brilliant. So this episode has basically turned Morrow from villain to kind of vengeful would-be hero, maybe. That's what I'm getting now, because he's not the villain we thought he was. Boy Cavalier has gone from being an annoying scientist guy who thinks he knows what he's doing but he's wrong, to the reason it's all gone to hell in the first place. He is the bad guy of this series, and we found this out in this episode. So this is a great episode to give us now. I know why they're waiting now to unleash this information, to give us a moment. Brilliant episode. That would have been a good film in its own. If you'd have lengthened that out and had a lot more Stalking the Alien. My downside is now, the thing that's getting me now is the alien is not as lethal killer enough for me. It should not. I mean, I like this toying with the people it's killing, but it's not. This is supposed to be the most brutal predator on the planet, as in not predator, but it's supposed to be the most brutal hunter, killer creature there is in the universe. From the previous alien films, it sees somebody, it targets him, and kills them. There's no peeing about, right? Except the first Alien film, maybe with Ripley, when it sort of toys with her a little bit. But like with the girl, what it's been doing with what's his name, Wendy's brother. Not, it's like he should be died ages ago. It's not as aggressive, and as I said, when you see it for the first time, when you see this creature, and you see it a lot more in this episode than you have done previously, it doesn't look right. I mean, yes, it's a xenomorph, and you can tell it's a xenomorph, but like the head looks too big for the body, and the tubes that come out the back are too short. I don't know, it looks too chunky as well. I don't know what it is about it, but something about it is annoying me. I know it's a practical guy in a suit, we've seen that now, it's probably mixed with CGI as well. But it's something about it does not look right, and I can't put my finger on it. I mean, as I said, the bigger head, it just doesn't feel right to me. So I'm wondering if this isn't a proper xenomorph. I don't know, but it's a xenomorph, but it isn't the killer xenomorphs that we've seen in the Alien films. Like if you look at Aliens, they're the most lethal killing things you've ever seen. If you look at Alien and Alien 3 even, it's a proper like it gets you, it kills you, it grabs you, bang to the head and dead. It's weird. I don't understand it myself. I ain't gonna lie. I do not get where this is, why they've toned it down. They've almost like neutered it, if you know what I mean. But anyway, great episode, great fun to watch, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I know, so obviously we're going to get Marrow turn up at the island in the next one, I'm guessing, and we're going to see him try and assassinate Boy Cavalier, which is going to be fun. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did and you like the review, obviously I've got more reviews coming for the next episodes, and I've got previous reviews on the channel in the little list that you might see somewhere there or somewhere over there. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you know anyone likes stuff, obviously let them know and share it. But have a good time and let me know what you think of the show so far. Did you like this flashback episode? Did you think this episode was a better story within the episode, or a better sort of like event than the rest of the series? Did you wish they hadn't done this one, so you'd rather left it a mystery what happened on there? Just let me know what you think, yeah, because I'm kind of interested to see what you guys think, to be honest with you. Anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Enjoy yourselves. Bye.